We're often told that breast is always best, but guess what? It's not always that easy.
When the baby's not in the right position, that's when it can hurt.
It only takes a few times of the latch being wrong, and then there's nothing quite like that. That pain, is there, when they get it wrong?
Cracked nipples, mastitis, lack of milk, the full disaster. Let's talk about it. Sarita, Clemmy, we're going to talk about our bangers and the milk that comes out of them. How did you find breastfeeding?
I guess I had loads of challenges. Literally, I've got 3 boys, so different each time, really. My eldest, when he was born, he had Group B strep, and I had preeclampsia, so we were apart for like 2 weeks. So with him, I expressed not very much because my body hadn't caught up with everything else because I had a C-section. Mm-hmm. The second one, I think I went in guns blazing thinking it's going to be the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's natural. Mm-hmm. You pop your baby on your boob and they drink.
That's how it works,
Exactly.
apparently, isn't it?
Exactly.
There's no pain? No.
Nothing. Didn't
No
work
struggle?
out that way.
Oh, right, okay.
I just didn't know what to do. I just literally didn't know what to do. Asked my midwife in hospital. She kind of glared at me like, you don't really want to breastfeed, so I'm not going to waste my time and speak to you
Oh, that's
about it.
awful.
So I literally went home and just didn't know what to do. I managed to do it for about 6 months, but probably not long enough for me to think, yes, I did something positive. I wanted to take it. Yeah, I just think I wanted to...
Think of the number of feeds that is. She says, like, deeply in their place.
I don't know. How's breastfeeding been for you, Clemmy? You seem to be
Doing
it
as
all
we
right.
speak.
That's right.
Well, it's funny you should say that. So I've got 3 kids as well, and she's my third, and she's actually definitely been the most difficult. I assumed that because I'd fed the other 2 really easily that it would just happen again, but you actually have to teach each child how to do it. So as soon as we came out of hospital, I kind of whacked her on the boob and didn't think anything more of it. And it only takes a few times of the latch being wrong, and then there's nothing quite like that. That pain, is there, when they get it wrong? But we got some help, and someone came round and showed me a few different positions that made a massive difference.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. I think getting the right help from the absolute beginning. I remember my friend with my first baby said, the best technique for breastfeeding is to treat your boob like a hamburger. Just grab it and put it in the baby's mouth. And that actually worked. And also, you have so much pressure on yourself. Did you feel that?
Yeah, because I didn't maybe do it for as long as I wanted to. The third time round, I went to classes. I Googled what's the best thing. Is there anything that could make you produce more milk? And I found out, like, taking a supplement called fenugreek.
Okay,
Took that because it increases your milk supply. So got the pillow, went to the classes, took fenugreek. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. And did it. I did it for a year. So
amazing.
I kind of wish I went a bit longer with it, primarily because my third one's dairy-free, dairy intolerant. So we had major challenges with that.
Don't feel worried if you can't do it straight away.
Look into different positions. There's more than just the across one. There's all sorts of ones you can try.
Get as much support as possible.
It's a horrible, confusing time because you'll always find someone with opposing advice to the person that you just spoke to.
I tried to breastfeed both my children. It didn't work. I had no milk.
Now, let's talk about breastfeeding out in public.
I think with me, I was quite self-conscious, I'm not gonna lie. I think I only did it once in public, in a restaurant, and he was just so hungry. We'd been out all day and my breasts were engorged, so that's another painful thing. Like, please take the milk. I did get a couple of funny looks, but I was just like, do you know what? The pain, it's just not worth it. I really don't care at this point.
How about you, Clemmy? Do you get your norks out?
Never. But you know what? It's funny because I do still feel self-conscious. Then I need to feed her, and that's that. But it's surprising the number of people that do still look at you.
I think on the other hand, when you can't breastfeed, you get your bottle out and everyone's like, oh, okay.
Well, even so with me just giving her formula, and I hate when you go and see the health visitor and they'll be like, oh, is she exclusively breastfed? And it's like, well, I'm feeding her all day apart from one bottle, but suddenly you feel like you've fallen out of...
Yes.
You can't have the exclusive title, which
Yeah.
is madness, isn't it? And it does play on your mind.
Yeah.
You look back and like with Bertie, my first, I didn't give him formula for a while, and I don't think my supply was up to it. And I see pictures where he didn't gain weight as well as he could have done. He wasn't being satisfied, so he was waking quite a lot. And I wish someone had just said to me, "Come on,
Stick a bottle in him."
because he would have been happier. I would have been happier. But you get in your head that you can't do it. Oh, okay.
Oh, we got it.
Oh my God, everything. The length of time that you do it,
Pumping too soon or pumping too late,
where you do it.
to not feeding enough, to feeding too much.
That you're showing off, that it makes other people feel uncomfortable.
Breastfeeding in public.
I was judged for bottle feeding. I've had a couple of nasty comments because my babies are both quite small. I've had people saying, "Oh, those babies should be breastfed."
I once was going to breastfeed in a play group at a library, and I said, "Does it matter if I breastfeed?" My friend said, "It would matter if you bottle fed." So I think you can't win either side. Okay, now look, breastfeeding can be lovely and wonderful and a great bonding experience, but Jesus, it's hard, and there's a lot of hurdles to get to the good bits. So what for you, Sarita, was the hard bits that you kind of encountered?
I think it was the whole positioning thing,
so.
because I got the pillow. I can't even remember what it was called, but everyone was like, "This pillow is what you need to get. You get the pillow, they will feed. It will be amazing." So I was like, you kind of have to put it around you, and
It's like sort of like a banana, isn't it? Yeah, like a V-shaped thing.
But because I had a C-section, it was a bit uncomfortable as well. I just couldn't find the right angle, and I did struggle. And I think when the baby's not in the right position, that's when it can hurt, because their mouth is in the wrong position and everything else. But once I had a nice midwife in the end, she came over, said, "Look, just lie down." And I think that's how I found my position. And then once you kind of grasp it, it's like, I can fling him round and go anywhere.
I think
Didn't
it's
need
definitely
pillow.
a Hollywood thing where you think that you have to breastfeed in a certain position.
Yeah.
And, like, especially again as with bigger boos, I to begin with having to feed with that rugby ball pose, so with them going that way.
Yeah.
But you just never see that, do
Yeah,
you?
literally.
You never know that there's different
Literally.
positions.
Sometimes I think it's the pressure and the expectation that you should be able to do it because it's your baby and that you can just feed them without any help.
You feel like you're the only one that can help this baby survive, that you're the only one that's feeding it. And I think that's a huge amount of pressure. So I think that's the hardest thing.
When both of my children were born, for about the first month or so, I had overactive letdown, and I was just covered in breast milk constantly.
Mastitis, and having to milk yourself to get rid of the mastitis or get someone else to do it for you. It's not the most dignified thing in the entire world.
My second baby woke up every 45 minutes to feed, and that is a living hell.
And can we talk about leaking? Have we had any letdowns? I love that it's called letdown, because you do feel like let down by your boobs in
It's that
public.
thing when you wake up in the morning and you're like, what am I covered in? Is it sweat? Is it milk?
Yes. I remember walking around Zara and I was wearing like a mauve top. So, and both of my boobs just let down. I had these massive, big purple kind of wet patches. I was like, I can't hide that. You could walk around like that, or you just leg it out and cry. Let's talk about another fun topic, engorgement. That's when your milk gets so full, you feel like you're carrying like golf balls, hot golf balls in your boobs.
Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even like just simply just touching, or a kid just nudging you. I'm
There's a problem with having more kids. You're like,
Yeah.
don't touch
No,
me.
no, 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 no.
don't.
Someone said a hot shower is a really good idea. Like have a hot shower, get the warm water and just sort of massage it out. Like a cow. We're just literally milking
Did
ourselves.
you ever do the lettuce thing?
No,
When
I read about
lettuce
it.
leaves supposed
I thought it was
didn't-
cabbage.
Same thing, no?
Sure, yes, that's right. Leaves. Just a whole lot of leaves. Salad.
leaves.
Just salad.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't try that.
Yeah. Maybe that's where I was going wrong. I was cabbage and not lettuce. What are the things that you really love about breastfeeding, you guys? What are the things you go, I'm really glad I've persisted?
Like being forced to sit and really focus on her. Like if I often force myself to put my phone down, and then it's a very special thing, isn't that sitting and actually soaking them up.
Did she do that thing with the mouth, like? That was so cute, though.
Oh, the panic, wasn't it?
Oh, I love that. When I've flown back to Australia, breastfeeding was the best thing because the baby just used to scream going up and down. So that was really fantastic. And you feel like, oh my God, I used to look at my baby and I thought, it's grown. Yeah, that's been, I grew it out of my own, uterus, and now I'm making it bigger from my own milk, and that's a really lovely bonus.
I have to say though, I've never had that miraculous I breastfed and all the weight fell off in 30 seconds thing.
No.
I am still postpartum. I mean, like...
I feel really foxed by that thing.
Yeah.
Well, you can eat whatever you want when you're breastfeeding, can't you?
I mean, you can, but you're still fat.
I think it's that time with you and your child that nobody else is involved in.
The best thing for me was just the convenience, just kind of having these, instant sort of comforters for my babies.
For the time that I did it, just the bond, I guess, was the best thing.
And when they look at you when they're breastfeeding and they smile.
What attracted me to breastfeeding is I wouldn't have to get out of bed. I could have a baby next to me and I wouldn't have to get up and heat up a bottle, make up a bottle, wouldn't have to worry about casting things round.
Your baby is growing in front of your eyes and the only thing that is feeding him or her is your breasts.
Let's ask the internet and see what the internet has to say about breastfeeding. So, the tips from the internet say, nurse as often as possible. Do you think that's practical?
I think that's good in the beginning to get your supply going, but
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do other things, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Like
Like go to the toilet.
dishwasher.
That's right.
I mean, I have fed on the toilet.
I've fed on the toilet.
I've never fed on the toilet.
Oh,
She's got higher standards than us. Another tip from the internet is ask for help if you need it. I mean, that's fairly obvious, but you can feel very proud, can't you?
And I found this time that I was in pain and thought, I'll just carry on going through the pain, it will get better. And then I eventually saw a lactation consultant. It's like, what madness to kind of go through the pain. If it hurts, get some help.
It's down to pressure, I guess. Like everyone's telling you, you should breastfeed, blah, 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 blah. And you kind of get caught up in what you should do rather than what's good for you. So definitely asking for help is the way to go.
Yeah,
Even
all
if
right.
it's taking a break for 5 minutes.
We agree with you, internet. Excellent work. Now, here it says, make a feeding kit bag with snacks, water, reading material.
You've got the internet.
I mean, that's your phone, isn't it? But it is good to have sort of everything at hand, because that's the thing. When you sit down to breastfeed, you're like, I'm not going anywhere for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Bring me my muslin square. Bring me my...
And the water, you're like the first when you're early breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Like nothing else.
And the internet says the final tip is try not to introduce dummies or bottles until breastfeeding is well established. I mean, do we agree with this?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things you worry about, definitely, like nipple confusion or something. But
Yeah. With my first two, I listened. With the last one, I literally just did what worked for us. I didn't have dummies for the first two, and then it got to the third one. I was like, if this helps him to be quiet, I'm going to do it. So I breastfed, I bottle fed, and had a dummy, and he wasn't confused.
What's your top tip?
Ignore the whispers. I think that's what got to me the first, second, and third time. Was just listening to people's advice when you didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, go with that.
Clemmy?
mine would be, as we already talked about, but knowing that there are different positions, so it isn't always across the body to look them up. So the rugby one and lying down to feed, which is just a gift. If you can have a little snooze and get a boob out.
That's the game changer. When you worked out, you're like an old sow.
Exactly.
You
I
could
always feel like I do feel like a sow.
I know, you just lift the thing up and the baby lies there, and then you can just, I loved it, that flick you do with the little finger, and the baby kind of turns away and you're like, oh yeah, I've done it. And thanks for doing the demo too, Clemmy. That was really nice. If you've got any comments you want to leave below about breastfeeding, we'd love to hear from you. See you next time.
What?